The night the sky bloomed. The evening began like any other in Fernhaven, as the last golden rays of sunlight slipped quietly behind the hills. The little village began settling into its nighttime rhythm. Cottage windows glowed warmly one by one. A baker carried the last basket of bread inside. A mother called her children home from the meadow. Somewhere near the river, a sleepy cricket sang its final evening song. The old wooden sign outside the village inn creaked gently in the breeze. And beneath the great gentle oak, the leaves whispered softly together. Luna sat beneath its enormous branches with her knees tucked beneath her chin. Beside her, Fable, the silvery fox, was curled into a comfortable little ball. His emerald green eyes followed the fireflies dancing above the grass. Luna held her small silver lantern in her hands. She wasn't lighting it tonight. There was already enough light. The sunset had left a faint ribbon of lavender across the western sky, and the first stars were beginning to appear. 1, then 2, then 3. Luna smiled. "There you are," she whispered. Fable opened one eye. "Who?" "The stars." Fable lifted his head. "They've been there all along." "I know." Luna tilted her head toward the sky. "But they always seem different somehow." Fable stretched his front paws and yawned. "Perhaps you're different every time you look at them." Luna thought about that. Maybe. A cool breeze moved through the branches of the gentle oak. Leaves rustled overhead. The sound was soft and soothing, almost like someone whispering a bedtime song. Luna leaned back against the old tree. "Fable? Does the sky ever get tired of being the sky?" Fable considered the question very seriously. "I suppose it depends." "On what? Whether the stars are behaving?" Luna giggled. Before she could ask what he meant, something bright suddenly streaked across the darkness. A silver line flashed from one side of the sky to the other. Luna sat upright. "Did you see that?" Fable's ears stood straight up. "Yes." Another shooting star flew overhead. Then another. Then another. Luna jumped to her feet. "Fable!" The fox stood beside her. The two stared upward. Soon the entire sky seemed alive. Tiny stars darted across the darkness in sparkling trails. Some moved slowly, leaving delicate ribbons of silver behind them. Others flashed quickly, like tiny sparks from a magical fire. One shooting star seemed to dance in a little circle before disappearing behind the hills. Luna laughed with delight. "I've never seen so many." Fable smiled. "Neither have I." The shooting stars continued. The people of Fernhaven noticed them too. Doors opened. Children hurried outside. Parents stepped onto porches. Even the sleepy baker came back out of his cottage, still wearing his flower-covered apron. "What is happening?" someone whispered. No one knew, but everyone watched. The sky had become a magnificent river of light. Yet high above Fernhaven, where the stars lived among the endless darkness, something else was happening, something the people below could not see. The smallest stars were whispering to one another. "My light is too tiny. No one notices me. Look at that star over there. She's so bright. I wish I could shine like that." A little star named Pippa hid behind a larger star. "I don't think anyone would even notice if I disappeared." Another tiny star sighed. "Perhaps we should hide." One by one, the smallest stars began slipping behind the larger ones. At first, no one noticed, but then the sky grew slightly darker. A tiny star disappeared, then another, then another. The great shining patterns of the constellations began losing their smallest lights. Below, Luna noticed. Her smile faded. "Fable!" The fox looked upward. "Something's wrong." The sky that had been dancing with light now seemed strangely uneven. There were bright places, but between them were patches of darkness. The stars are disappearing, Luna whispered. Fable nodded. I see them. Luna looked worried. Why would they hide? Neither of them had an answer. Then a soft silver glow appeared beside the gentle oak. The air shimmered, tiny specks of light gathered together, and from the shimmering darkness stepped Orion. His cloak looked as though it had been woven from the night sky itself. Little stars sparkled along its edges. Luna smiled with relief. Orion, he bowed gently. Good evening, Luna. Fable wagged his tail. You're just in time. Orion looked toward the sky. I know. What happened to the little stars? Luna asked. Orion was quiet for a moment. They have forgotten something. What? That being small does not mean being unimportant. Luna looked up. But why would they think that? Orion sighed softly, because sometimes the brightest things are the easiest to notice. He pointed toward a magnificent star glowing near the center of the heavens. That star shines brilliantly. Luna nodded. She does. But look carefully. Luna squinted. What am I looking for? The darkness around her. Luna looked again. At first, she didn't understand. Then she realized, if there were only one bright star, the sky would still be beautiful, Orion said, but it would be very different. Luna nodded. Yes. Orion smiled. The beauty of the night doesn't come from one star trying to shine brighter than all the others. It comes from all of them being themselves. Luna looked down at her lantern. She gently touched its silver handle. But what can we do? Orion looked at her. What do you do when you feel too small? Luna thought. I suppose I try to remember that small things can still matter. Exactly. Fable sat beside her. And she carries a lantern. Luna smiled. She lifted the little silver lantern from her shoulder. It wasn't very large. It couldn't illuminate the entire forest. It couldn't brighten the village. It couldn't compete with the moon. But when Luna opened its tiny door and lit the flame inside, a warm, golden glow spread around them. The grass immediately around their feet became visible. A small patch of flowers appeared in the light. Fable's silver fur glowed softly. Luna held the lantern higher. My lantern doesn't light the whole world. Orion nodded. No. It only lights the path in front of me. And isn't that enough? Luna smiled. Yes. She looked toward the hidden stars. Then she raised her lantern toward the heavens. If one little lantern can help someone find their way, she paused. Then one little star can help make the whole night beautiful. For a moment, nothing happened. The forest remained quiet. The stars remained hidden. Luna lowered her lantern. Maybe they didn't hear me. Fable's ears twitched. I think they did. A tiny light appeared between two enormous stars. Luna looked up. There it was, a tiny twinkle, so small she almost missed it. The little star peeked out. It was trembling. Am I really enough? The tiny star whispered. Luna smiled. You don't have to be the brightest. The star flickered. You don't? No. Then what do I have to do? Just shine. The little star thought about this. Then very slowly it let its light grow. Not much, just a little. But it was enough to make the darkness around it softer. Another tiny star appeared. Perhaps I could shine too. You should, Luna called. A third star emerged, then a fourth, then 5 more. Soon the sky was dotted with little lights. Some were bright, some were faint. Some flickered nervously, others shone steadily. None were exactly alike, and that was what made them beautiful. But then Pippa, the smallest star of all, remained hidden. She had been watching from behind a large golden star. "I can't," she whispered. Another star called to her. "Why not? I'm too small." "You are not too small." "I am." Pippa looked at the enormous stars around her. "They shine like lanterns." She looked at the moon. "It shines like a pearl." Then she looked at herself. Her little light was barely visible. "I am hardly more than a spark." Luna heard her. She closed her eyes for a moment. Then she remembered something. Once she had been afraid to take a single step across a difficult bridge. The step had seemed tiny, but it had been enough. She remembered another night when someone had needed kindness. The kindness had been only a few words, but those words had mattered. She remembered a lonely star who had believed it had been forgotten. She remembered the quiet constellation that had discovered friendship. She remembered the moon's secret garden, where the smallest acts of kindness had caused the most beautiful flowers to bloom. She remembered the festival of lights. Thousands of lanterns had filled the streets. Yet every lantern had begun with one small flame. Luna opened her eyes. "Pippa." The tiny star looked down. "Yes?" "You don't have to light the whole sky." Pippa was quiet. "Just light the space around you." Pippa looked around. There was darkness beside her. So she tried. She gave the smallest little twinkle. A single point of light appeared, then another. Her glow grew slightly warmer. The darkness around her began to soften. And something extraordinary happened. A nearby star noticed Pippa's light. It began shining a little brighter too, then another and another. The tiny lights began forming patterns, not because anyone had told them where to shine, not because they were competing, but because each one was simply being itself. Soon the sky began changing. Golden streams of starlight stretched across the heavens like vines climbing through an enchanted garden. Silver lights gathered into delicate patterns. Lavender ribbons appeared between the constellations. Blue-white sparks shimmered like dew on flowers. The darkness itself seemed to bloom. Luna stared upward. Her mouth fell open. "It looks like—" She searched for the right words. Fable finished the sentence. "The sky is blooming." Luna smiled. "The sky is blooming." Orion watched quietly. "It always could." "What changed?" "The stars did." "No," Orion said gently. "They remembered who they were." The little stars twinkled, and for the first time they understood. They did not need to compete. They did not need to become bigger. They did not need to become brighter. They did not need to hide behind anyone. They simply needed to shine. Below them, Fernhaven had become completely still. The villagers had stopped talking. Even the children had fallen silent. Everyone was looking upward. The baker removed his hat. A little girl held her mother's hand. Two old neighbours stood side by side on a porch. No one was asking which star was the brightest. No one was choosing a favourite. They simply watched and admired the whole sky. Pippa noticed. "They're looking at us." Another tiny star smiled. "They're looking at all of us." Pippa's light grew warmer. "Maybe they don't need one star." "No, they need the whole sky." Above Fernhaven, the stars shimmered. Below Fernhaven, the people smiled, and Luna felt something warm settle inside her heart. She looked at Fable. "Do you think the stars understand now?" Fable nodded. "I think they do." Luna looked at Orion. "Will they remember?" Orion smiled. "Sometimes we forget lessons." "Then what?" "We remember them again." Luna considered that. "Even stars, especially stars." A gentle breeze passed through the gentle oak. Its leaves shimmered with reflected starlight. Then something strange happened. One tiny glowing shape drifted down from the sky. It floated slowly toward Luna, a little petal, made entirely of light. It landed softly in her hands. Luna stared. It's beautiful. The petal glowed for a moment. Then it dissolved into a trail of silver light. The light slipped into the little charm hanging from Luna's lantern. The charm sparkled. Luna touched it gently. It remembered me. Orion nodded. The sky remembers every kind choice. Luna looked at him. Every kind choice? Everyone. Even tiny ones. Especially tiny ones. Fable's tail moved gently through the grass. Orion continued. It remembers the hand that helped someone stand. It remembers the person who listened when someone needed to speak. It remembers the child who invited someone lonely to join a game. It remembers the apology that took courage, the smile given to a stranger, the quiet kindness no one else noticed. Luna looked toward the glowing sky. Even when nobody sees. Orion smiled. Kindness does not become smaller simply because no one is watching. Luna was quiet. Then she smiled. I like that. I thought you might. The three friends remained beneath the gentle oak for a little while longer. Above them, the sky continued to bloom. Golden, silver, lavender, blue. Every colour seemed to belong. Every star had its own rhythm. Some blinked quickly, some slowly. Some shone with dazzling brilliance. Some were so gentle that they almost looked like distant candle flames. But together they created something none of them could have created alone. A sky full of wonder. Eventually, Luna began to yawn. Fable noticed. I believe someone is ready for bed. Luna rubbed her eyes. Maybe. Orion smiled. Even magical nights must eventually become quiet. Luna looked upward one last time. Pippa, the tiny star twinkled. Yes? Keep shining. Pippa's little light flashed. I will. And if you ever forget? Pippa smiled. I'll remember the lantern. Luna laughed softly. Good. She picked up her lantern and began walking home with Fable beside her. The path through Fernhaven was covered in silver light. Every flower looked as though it had been sprinkled with tiny diamonds. The old rooftops shimmered. The river reflected the blooming sky. Even the windows of the cottages seemed to hold little pieces of starlight. Luna walked slowly. She didn't want the night to end. But bedtime was waiting. When she reached her cottage, she climbed the stairs quietly. She changed into her pajamas. She placed her little lantern beside her bed. Then she climbed beneath her blankets. Fable curled up nearby. Before closing her eyes, Luna looked through her bedroom window. The sky was still blooming. She could see Pippa, a tiny little star, not the brightest and not the biggest, but shining. Luna smiled. Perhaps tomorrow someone else would feel too small. Perhaps someone else would need a little encouragement. Perhaps another little light would be waiting for someone to believe in it. And perhaps her own little light would help the sky bloom again. She closed her eyes. Outside, the stars continued to shimmer. The gentle oak whispered in the distance. The moon sailed peacefully across the heavens, and Fernhaven slept beneath a sky that seemed to breathe with light, because sometimes the smallest light is exactly the light someone needs. Sometimes a single kind word can brighten a difficult day. Sometimes one brave step can lead us somewhere wonderful. And sometimes, when many little lights choose to shine together, the whole sky blooms. Gentle reflection. Sometimes we think our kindness is too small to make a difference. Maybe it is only a smile, a helping hand, a kind word, a moment of patience, a listening ear, or simply choosing to include someone who feels alone. These moments may seem tiny, but tiny things can carry enormous meaning. A seed is tiny, yet it can become a tree. A candle flame is tiny, yet it can brighten a dark room. A single star is tiny compared with the enormous night sky. Yet without its light, the sky would be different. Your kindness is like that. You do not have to change the entire world in one day. You do not have to be the brightest person in the room. You do not have to do something extraordinary to matter. Sometimes all you need to do is shine where you are. Help where you can. Speak gently. Be brave when it matters. Make room for someone who feels unseen. And remember that your light does not become less valuable because someone else shines brightly. There is room in the sky for every star. There is room in the garden for every flower. And there is room in the world for your particular kind of light. So tonight, as you close your eyes, think of one small kindness you gave today. Maybe someone smiled because of you. Maybe someone felt less alone. Maybe you helped without even realizing how much it mattered. Let that thought rest gently in your heart. And remember Luna's little lantern. It never tried to light the whole world. It simply lit the path in front of her, and that was enough. Because when enough little lights shine, the darkness doesn't stand a chance. Good night, little star. May your dreams be gentle. May your heart stay kind. And may you always remember, no light is too small to help the world bloom.